Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Nobunagun Episode 4. And this one is up late because yesterday, as I said in my Magi review, I had to work two different jobs yesterday. I have two jobs, but I've never had to actually work both of them on the same day before, so Sunday was an interesting day for me, a busy one. Plus, I had schoolwork I had to finish as well for Monday, so it was just a busy, busy day. And today was slightly less busy, but still pretty busy, so yeah. But the review's up now, so yeah. I'll just get into it. Last episode ended with hurricane hunters or whatever, hurricane chasers, whatever, getting taken out inside the hurricane. Turns out there's an invasion object in there. Wasn't too hard to figure out. you know, Pretty much showed it last week. Um, in order to take it down, Dogu decides that they need a shooter to take it down, and we know they have Shio, but she's not that good. So they're looking into other options at first, but apparently the only other shooter they have is William Tell, and he's busy on another mission. And for the record, William Tell, I'm gonna assume he's not a shooter with like guns, but he's a shooter with like a crossbow. I'm just gonna assume that. Just gonna listen to what Wikipedia tells me about him. I'm assuming they're just gonna transfer that to his character in the show. But yeah, since he's on a mission, they have to rely on Shio. And Shio in this episode, she's kind of like John Cena, where like stuff will happen and she should be mad about it, she should be disappointed, she should be showing emotion, but she doesn't. I mean, like we see her mention the Hurricane Hunter guys like once the entire episode, but other than that, I mean, there's not much emotion about it. She's kind of just treating this like just another mission. Like she's not as invested in it as she would be if some guys she met, some guys who she had befriended, were killed by this thing. She's not nearly as invested as she should be. Right, so I thought that was interesting how she kind of just instantly forgot about these guys, even though they were such good friends, and she was so insulted when Kappa insulted them, But apparently now she just doesn't care about them anymore. Um, so yeah, they end up going with Shio for this mission to shoot down the invasion object, and Jack the Ripper, he's going too. And Shio actually ends up walking in on Jack when he's changing, which is funny because usually it's the other way around. Guy walks in on girl. But he wasn't like, all he had to do was put his shirt on, so it's not like she saw much, but she saw how like ripped he is and how like how nice of a body he has, and she like she started getting all red and everything. And the two of them, it kind of starts here, and you see it throughout the episode, but the two of them are starting to develop this kind of relationship where they just make fun of each other all the time, but by making fun of each other, they end up motivating the other person to actually do better and succeed in the mission, which may or may not be their goal, probably not, but that's what ends up happening anyway. Personally, I found it pretty funny, so I'm enjoying their relationship so far. I don't think Jack is going to be able to take Shio because Shio belongs to a sow. Those two are definitely going to be nah, but yeah, I'm not shipping them quite yet. I still don't see it. She's still too. Yeah, I mean she's still, her heart race is a little bit too much for a sow, so I'm not shipping those two yet. But who knows? Maybe in a few more episodes I'll be able to see it. But yeah, the two of them end up going on the mission. We meet Galileo for the first time. Kappa is on the helicopter with him as well, and he's kind of just explaining to them what the situation is and how the invasion object is riding on the hurricane in order to try to make it onto the mainland. And we also find out, thanks to Galileo, because she's like a sensory type ninja, except she's not a ninja. She's like a sensory type. She can just like, that's all you really need to know. She's a sensory type. All right, that's what type of a that's what type of AU weapon she has. Well, not really a weapon, but yeah. She figures out that that invasion object actually has a bunch of eggs that it's going to drop. And if those things drop on the mainland and they hatch, that's going to be a huge freaking problem, all right? If they hatch in the sea, that's going to be a problem too, but not nearly as big of a problem as if they made onto as if the eggs made it onto the mainland. So they have to change up their plan a little bit, and but in the end, it still revolves around Shio shooting it down. It's just a matter of like getting it in a certain position and shooting it when it's at a certain point over the water, so that the least amount of eggs make it to the shore. And she gets really nervous about this. She does not think she can do this at all. She really doesn't. And all the others are trying to convince her, calm down, you can do this, but she's still nervous. And everyone just starts to realize like she's not going to do it. She's going to screw up. We're trying to convince her that she can do it, but she doesn't believe in herself, and she also doesn't believe in us, even though we're telling her that she can do it. Right? This is when personally I'm not a fan of Simone, which puts me in the extreme minority. Or not Simone. Uh, what's the freaking guy's name? Kamina. I'm a big fan of Simone. It's just Kamina I'm not a fan of. I don't like the guy at all, which puts me in the extreme minority. But Kamina from Gurren Lagann, right? This is one of the few times where he would actually be good. All right, to talk to Shio and say, you don't need to believe in yourself, but believe in the me that believes in you. All right, we know you can do it, so do it. All right, but no one's there to tell. Well, people are there to tell her that. It's just she doesn't want to listen. And in order to actually hit the invasion object, Oda Nobunaga has to take over. All right, well, take over. I mean, not really, but pretty much. She gets into that mode where she kind of just fights with her instincts alone, which are Oda Nobunaga's instincts. She pretty much becomes Oda Nobunaga. I mean, not really, but pretty much. All right. She jumps out of the helicopter. Boom. She shoots down the invasion object, but it turns out that it's not one invasion object, it's two. And the one she shoots is the one that was holding the invasion object that was holding the eggs. Okay, apparently the two are joined together, which is something that Doku has never seen before. So the invasion objects are evolving. And Shio knows, like, okay, well, I shot that one down, I'll just have to shoot this one down now. And she shoots it, but its head's, like, made out of some type of maid. It's the bullets don't go through it, pretty much. They don't work at all. So Jack has to come out, boom, destroy it. However, some of the eggs fall out. I think like 12. 12 of the eggs fell out. So Jack grabs one of the Shio who's used her parachute at this point, and she needs to start shooting and using the three-line volley. Right, the three-line volley to propel Jack back and forth so he can take out all of the eggs. One of them hatches, but they end up taking that one out too. And yeah, that's that. They succeed in the mission. Shio ends up falling asleep. Jack has to carry her back to her room, which gets him laughed at by some of the guys there, which is funny. But yeah, like I just mentioned, the invasion objects are evolving. That's what the guys at the HQ managed to figure out, thanks to Kappa. They're evolving. I mean, they saw that how they lost in Taiwan. They learned from it, and they changed their strategy in order to try and avoid a similar situation. The invasion objects in Florida. Florida is where the hurricane was. The invasion objects in Florida technically shouldn't have a way to find out what happened in Taiwan. It's not like these guys have freaking cell phones and crap. Like they shouldn't be able to communicate back and forth, but apparently they can. They have some way to share information, and they also have some way to make actual strategic decisions based off of the knowledge that they share between each other. So that was interesting. Next episode we see Gandhi and Newton again. Galileo's there too. They're all out of uniform. or out of their gear, I guess. They're in like school uniforms or something like that. Um, but it's not like it's going to be a normal like slice of life episode or anything like that. We do see them in their combat gear at some point, I think, or uh, Shio at least. I don't know if it's training or an actual fight, but either way, we will get some action next episode as well. Um, but as far as this episode goes, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Um, I mean, that's mostly because of the comedy between Jack and Shio, just like their relationship in general. That and the can't really call it development for the invasion objects, but like the reveal that the invasion objects are evolving. Right, those two things are like the main reasons why this episode is getting a 7 out of 10. Everything else was just okay, to be honest. The three-line volley didn't look nearly as epic as it did before. Jack out. I'll give them credit because in the first couple episodes, Jack didn't look that cool. Like he was taking out a few of them, but then he ended up getting beaten, and Shio, an amateur, had to come in and save him. So he wasn't really looking too good. But he came back in this episode and he dominated, and that pushed him back up a little bit. So yeah, that was cool too. So yeah, like I said, I'll give this episode a 7 out of 10. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.